Before we begin, thank you very much to The Violence Inherent in the System for joining the Patreon campaign. Violence is generous today. Thank you very much for the contribution, Violence. Thank you very much for everyone who supports the Patreon. It's what keeps the daily content coming and keeps the channel alive, and I do appreciate everyone who can pitch in a buck or two a month to make sure I can keep producing content for everybody. Like today's topic. So, San Diego Comic-Con has been going on for the last few days, and the Transformer panel revealing all their new stuff is already said and done. So I think today we're going to go over all the stuff that got revealed and discussed. Suffice to say, a lot of the stuff is retread, which is kind of unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen just a whole bunch of new stuff, but it looks like they're saving it for PulseCon in a couple months. But we will go over what they talked about, just to give my thoughts and my opinions, and just to show it off a little bit. We're going to start with the fact that most of this actually does come from the stream that they did. They actually live streamed a bit of like a mini panel. I really appreciate the normal crew, like Mark and BMAC and Evan. I'm starting to really appreciate them as far as like the hosts of the normal Pulse streams, because having someone else there does not work. Nate, who is apparently a marketing guy, honestly did a terrible job at marketing the Transformers during this stream. He was lifeless. He felt like he was just getting it over with, just kind of like forcing it on through. There's no real like hype or like reverence to any of this that normally comes from the team that we get to hear from. Yeah, for a marketing guy, he's terrible at marketing in person. Don't ever have him on again. I don't know if you're just rushed for time, but it really just felt like you just wanted to rush through it and get it over with. But that said, let's go over what they talked about. And we're going to start with the stuff that we already know about. And in some cases, we already have. Like, they pushed Party Wallop a little bit more, even though I think they said all their quantities were sold out. So they're promoting a toy that's completely sold out. But that's not a surprise. It's a huge, huge item to release for Transformer and Ninja Turtle fans. Yeah, we've already got this. I've got 4 of them, so not a huge deal to talk about again. Outside of this, yeah, it's a big deal toy, so they're pushing it a little bit more. They also pushed 86 Optimus Prime. Of course they did, because that's going to be the big ticket item of the year when it comes out. Well, I mean, more, actually no, more so than Tidal Wave in a weird way. Not more expensive, but certainly higher in demand. So, of course, they pushed that one a little bit more. And then they started talking about Core Starscream from the Bumblebee movie, and I'm like, we already had a reveal of this one. Like, this is going to be a $10 little Core class figure. This is not like a, oh, we need to push this out there and make people aware of it kind of figure. We already did this. We already talked about this one. I know, it's just a really weird inclusion. They brought up Ruckus. So, I see the way things are now. I can't even remember if they are official reveals or leaks anymore. But we know we've already seen these photos. We've already discussed the 2-pack of the Mayhem Attack Squad. Ruckus, obviously, it's a retool of Beachcomber. That was pretty much a given because there's only one Dune Buggy now. So it has to, well, 2, but you're not going to use Sandstorm for Ruckus, are you? So he gets a TriggerCon out there. It's nice to see. Ruckus is one of those like random characters you never thought would get another toy, so kind of cool. And then IDW Bludgeon as well. Again, we've already seen this. I like the new tooling. The colors are there. I never liked the idea of like trying to mix the colors of the like outer and inner robots. So like I really kind of just would have preferred him to like stick to like one or the other. I don't know. He feels like he saw Party Wallop in the Ninja Turtle crossover and went, I want to get in on that. It literally feels like the same shades of yellow and green. And the tank mode's fine. The tank mode is fine. So that's just kind of the stuff that we've already, like, we've treaded this ground before, but they wanted to push it a little bit more. The following segment is reissues, because they announced a ton of package refreshes and a ton of redos on previously released figures that they want people to be able to get their hands on again. Figures like Reactivate Bumblebee. Weird call. Really weird call. Like, I understand Bumblebee, make Bumblebees more available, but also, if you're going to re-release anything from that line, re-release the Optimus Prime. It's one of the best Prime toys in recent years. It's a really, really good toy. But maybe with 86 and the G1 toy generations figure and a few others out there, maybe Prime's a little oversaturated. So I'm okay. I maybe get this point, but it's a weird call. It's a weird call to like just go like, hey, you know those reactivate 2-packs that were like went really quick? We're just gonna make one of them again. Just the Bumblebee. It's a good Bumblebee. Don't get me wrong. Weird call though. We have the Space Bridge reveals that just kind of showed off things that we're going to get. Now, listings already confirmed all of this, but this is just the further confirmation that these will actually exist in the near future. They're doing another run of Cosmos, which they did admit that it was not a smart move of them to only do one per case. They admitted that was a mistake. See, we also getting a rerun of the Origin Bumblebee to go with that Origin Wheeljack that just came out. Not a bad call. I remember that one kind of clogging up. I got it on clearance, so to rerun it again is an interesting choice. But now that Wheeljack is out, I kind of see the need. So we'll see how that one goes. Ramjet, one more Conehead that was hard to get the first time around, so they are like breaking up those exclusive packs and putting those toys out again. I likely expect it to have the similar changes that Dirge did, like molded plastics instead of all painted wings. Let's see, Tarn. Yeah, so they mentioned that this might be the last time they put Tarn out, but Evan was like, "Oh, you never know," because Evan is like, Evan was like, always letting him speculate, always never say never type thing. And then like Nate was just there like, get it now because it's the last time we're doing it. It's a very different approach. But nevertheless, that Tarn was incredibly hard for a lot of people to get a hold of. So the fact that they're rerunning it is not a surprise. Galaxy Shuttle. Yeah, this one was a complete misfire. This one barely came out anywhere. Now, on the one hand, I kind of feel like it's a cool thing that they are reissuing so many of these hard-to-get toys, but at the same time, you do kind of want to leave a few of them special. Like, I feel like Galaxy Shuttle, obviously, like, get that out again because that one was just, like, a complete botch at retail launch, just because Velocitron was so oversaturated. No one really wanted to take on another one. No Walmarts at least wanted to take on another wave. So yeah, get him out there, I suppose. But like, I feel like every now and then you just need to leave a toy rare and just let it be special. You know, let us have things to just to go for it. I feel like super obscure deep cuts like Galaxy Shuttle, you know, the characters that were never represented in America before like that. I feel like that's a deep enough cut to where like you could have left it special. Do another run for like Hasbro Pulse, but like not at retail, not at retail level. But that's just me. I'm happy that people who missed out on it are gonna get it. All right, there's one more set of reissues, but this one's a little bit different because for the 15th anniversary of Revenge of the Fallen, they are doing a big multi-pack just like they did for the 07 movie. This one is going to include the Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime and the Jetfire, which I want to say that there was like some weird confusion over which Prime release could combine with that Jetfire. So if they're multi-packed, well, that kind of cuts that down. And then they're doing the RC triplets again, which are not great figures. They're just kind of filling the case here because they are absolutely Revenge of the Fallen characters. So, no, it's not a bad multi-pack. I'm actually kind of curious if we are going to see something akin to this for like the Decepticon side of things, like they did for the 07 movie. Because, you know, the original Studio Series movie Megatron was the Revenge of the Fallen design. Wouldn't be a bad idea to put that one back in rotation. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, from here on out, these are all brand new announcements. We know some of these from leaked listings, of course, but this is the first time Hasbro is officially confirming them, so it's good to find out. More Space Bridge reveals. We are getting an Armada Wheeljack. So that Sideswipe mold is not done yet. We're going to get a few more. Oh, again, this was a given. They did a brand new tooling for the head and the torso. They were going to waste it on just a shattered glass Sideswipe. They absolutely were going to do this. All right, Overcharge. Overcharge. I think Nate couldn't even remember the name of this one. And didn't even realize this was the last slide in the slideshow. He was like, "Go, what's next? What's next? Oh, we're done." Great marketing guy. Evan did mention, like, it's been a long time since we got an overcharge out there. And I'm like, Evan, you've never gotten an overcharge out there. The only one was from eHobby. They did mention, however, that this one is getting a slightly retooled head, different face, different head shape, so I'm assuming it's going to lean closer to the Blitzwing G1 toy rather than the modern cartoon-accurate sculpts. It's not a whole lot of difference, but it's good to know there's going to be at least a little bit there. It's interesting to me that, like, this is going to be a mainline run, considering the first Blitzwing kind of shelf-warmed, which was unfortunate. But now we're going to do a super obscure deep-cut character as a repaint, and we're going to put that out at retail level. Good luck with that. I mean, I'm going to buy it because it's a green Blitzwing, but, you know, that's me. I'm a sucker for that. And then they did announce that, yeah, we're getting a G2 breakdown, which is no surprise. They are very slowly trickling out G2 characters and generations. I have the Shadow Strip. A friend of mine is holding on to Dead End. I'm still waiting for him to send me that. Carl, are you out there? No. Carl can take his time. I'm not in a rush. Don't break your back for me. But I'm kind of curious when Motormasters is coming out, because, like, they've never done I don't think they want to overload the commanders by doing a repaint one year. I'm really curious how the last two are coming. All right, most obvious repaint, they announced the Frenzy off of the Bumblebee movie concept Rumble. Yeah, it's just another box to stuff into your sound wave, so no big surprise there. Okay, and that's the stuff that new announced, but we already knew. You know, we already kind of knew this. Admittedly, the stuff that's coming up, we also pretty much knew, but this is like the good stuff, the fresh look, the new hotness. This is the stuff that I really wanted to tune in for. We got Studio Series Transformers 1 Megatron, and it's looking really, really nice. Really liking how this one looks. I haven't seen the trailers enough to really, like, remember the differences as to what makes, like, the difference between D16 after he gets his transformation cog versus what Megatron in the movie looks like. So I'm not quite up on that one. I feel like this is just like first appearance Megatron because the head is so much boxier. Nevertheless, good looking design. Good looking design. I really do like how this one turned out. I like the uniqueness in the tank mode as well. Like the really long treads in the front. It's such a different shape than the typical Megatron tank. Like, I'm really into that. So one nice thing about Megatron is because of the whole, like, we can't make him into a gun, they've made him into so many things over the years in so many different ways. The Megatron is kind of more of a blank slate than Optimus Prime. Prime always has to look like the same old truck. Megatron, he's malleable. You can reshape him. You can reform him. It lets him get away with a lot of different new things. I like how low to the ground and angular this tank looks. You know, that's kind of a cool look to me. I'm looking forward to this toy. I think I'm looking forward to this toy more than I am the Optimus Prime. Because, again, the Prime is just kind of a Prime. And this one is really, really neat. Subsequently, in Japan, I want to say they announced like an upscale version of that Prime for their toy line. Oh, no. Catch me for the news roundup. I'll tell you about that one. Assuming I didn't like make that up in a fever dream or anything. Another Studio Series release, and this one is really, really cool. So, Ratchet from War for Cybertron, they are continuing the Gamer Edition. This is another release for that. Gamer Editions had a rough time. It feels like they led with a really, really solid effort in Optimus Prime, and then just kind of like went to sleep on everything else. So, yeah, yeah. I'm hoping this turns out good, because it looks good. It looks nice, bulky, solid. It is Voyager scale, so that's good to know. The Voyagers seem to be I don't know. Let's like the Voyager class, Voyager price points in general seem more consistent to me, so I like to see that. Let's see. The vehicle mode looks cool too. Vehicle mode looks spot on to what I remember in the show, or in the game rather. Big axe accessory too. I like a big axe accessory. Yeah, this is like Ratchet's cool, but it takes a certain Ratchet for me to get interested. Animated, Prime, okay, I'm more interested in them. When it's a design like this, I kind of want to see the Ironhide. I want to see how he turned out. I want to see like the front grille and the front bumper painted up real nice for him. But it looks like a good toy. It looks like a good toy. Could be wrong because others look good. We'll have to see. Here's a crossover we found out about, but seeing it in person is really, really cool. The new G.I. Joe Transformer crossover is Cup. He is the G.I. Joe's Triple T. He comes with 2 figures with the O-ring design. Let's see. I wanted to say Leatherface, but like no, that's the Turtles crocodile. No, Leatherhead. But more importantly, Sergeant Slaughter. And this is like a toy I might buy just for the Sergeant Slaughter, because I've not been a big fan of how the G.I. Joe Transformers turn out. You know, it seemed like Soundwave was the best of the batch, and I ended up skipping Soundwave, and I don't really feel like I missed anything by doing so. His Cup seems to follow a lot of the same trends. He's kind of a slave to the color scheme of the toy, so he doesn't really present his more iconic look. He has a very large backpack of junk because they didn't want to sacrifice anything of the vehicle mode. And he doesn't look bad. There's been far worse G.I. Joe crossovers, so, and it's not a bad character choice. I think this is the first time that they've shown enough confidence in the concepts like this that they haven't stopped themselves and went, wait. We need to make sure it's a big deal character so that sells. You know, so they don't have, so now they're not worried about it being like a Megatron, a Bumblebee, or an Optimus Prime, or anything like that. No. Cup, okay. We can go outside the 84 core. All right. The Triple T mode looks spot on. Like, I mean, that's, of course, the thing that they're prioritizing on these toys, so, of course, that looks great. I was never a G.I. Joe kid. So I don't have the nostalgia for these the way I know a lot of people do. I'd be in it for the Transformer aspect, which, as I said, on a lot of these tends to be lacking. I don't know, it looks interesting, though. I want to see this one. I want someone in hand to tell me that it is actually better than the others, and then we will consider it, and I will mostly be buying it for the Sergeant Slaughter anyway. Alright, are you ready for the really cool stuff? Because, like, this was, like, I know this is cool to some people. This is not as cool to me as what we're about to talk about. We get to see Dino King. Finally. This is so So, as soon as we found out how the core Dinobots combined, we knew this was coming. You know, if you're going to put Slag as the torso, as the chest, you know how they're going to combine. You know it's going to be the same combination layout as the Dino Force. So, yeah, this was just, like, basically just tapping our fingers, waiting for them to pull the trigger, and the trigger has been pulled. We're getting these in 2 months as a PulseCon exclusive. If any of you buy it before I am able to, I will be furious. Not really. Not really. It's a free-for-all. Good luck to everybody. He does look really, really cool. I'm glad they went with the toy colors rather than trying to replicate the shells because dinosaurs. It does mean the robot modes took a lot of priority. It's really hard to escape some of the Dinobot silhouettes for these guys. They try their best. They really do try their best. I'm just happy I have another excuse to buy an Ankylosaurus Transformer. That's mostly what I'm in it for. But no. I mean, I like the team in I like the team in Transformers Victory. I put it out on Twitter. This just means I need a Star Saber at this size. I need a Star Saber that scales to this guy. No, it's cool to see. It looks like a lot of them got some extra weapon accessories. You can see big axes and clubs and gigantic missile launchers. I like that the swoop retool, you'll excuse me if I don't remember their names right offhand. I like how that one seems to come with a brand new block, which solely exists so that in arm mode, he actually has the bulk to match the other side. Kind of a nice thought. I do like the fact that they aren't just repaints. So, like, there's a ton of new accessories. All of the individual robots have new heads. That's a lot more effort than I was expecting. So, that's cool. I really wish some of the dino heads were retooled. I mean, I know some just look like dinosaurs, but I feel like Grimlock's head especially is so like iconic of Grimlock that I really wouldn't have minded another quick tooling on him, you know? Just to kind of separate out, because that is just straight up Grimlock with a green mustache. Oh man. It is what it is. It's a big multi-pack thing. I didn't grab a picture of the box. I should have, because it's this lovely like Japanese G1 retro style grid box. It looks lovely. I'm really excited for this set. Now here is the big one that a lot of people are talking about, and I'm surprised at how many people were talking about it. We finally have a Knight Rider crossover figure on the way. I didn't really think they would do Knight Rider because it's not a franchise that really inspires toy sales or anything like that. Obviously, there's nostalgia from 80s fans for this guy because KITT is one of the most notable like cars of the 80s. But at the same time, he's just a black Pontiac Trans Am. So it's not the most thrilling of vehicles to release. The only real difference on him is that laser light in the front that everyone knows. But nevertheless, yeah, they are doing him. Agent Knight is the name. I mean, I would have called him Turbo Boost. Like, you really should have given him some better reference than just Agent Knight. That's weak, Hasbro. I do like the G1 retro packaging. See, the vehicle mode. Yeah, it looks nice. I like that the headlights pop up, so you have a little bit of added feature you don't typically get. I didn't get a sense of scale from when I saw this being handled, and it wasn't put up against any other toy that I saw. I should have looked. I think there's pictures up of the case for Hasbro's releases. That probably shows the scale a little bit. It looks like it's going to mesh in with like the other cars in the line, which make it like deluxe size. But the thing about this one is there actually is lights and sounds. And he has the laser. He actually has the laser. And if this thing is deluxe size and it has electronic features like that, that's kind of insanity. Because even back in the day, Hasbro kind of avoided putting electronics in deluxes. It's what happened to Armada Hotshot. He lost an LED light in his hand because of that. So this would be cool. If this is a deluxe with the electronics, that would be incredibly cool. But I get the feeling it might be a little bit larger than that. I'd like it to scale to the DeLorean. I really like it to scale to Gigawatt. But we'll see. Or we might have already seen it and I just missed it. Okay, before we take a look at the robot mode, I did actually go and check the photos on the floor. This is a big toy. This is big. I thought this was going to scale to Gigawatt. It does not. This is absolutely at least Voyager scale, maybe a specialty scale, more along the lines of Ectotron. It's big. It's big. Okay, so there's a lot going into this toy. Let's go ahead and go take a look at the robot mode, and it is gloriously 80s in its design. They did mention that they specifically wanted to invoke a traditional 80s Transformer with this, so we do have, much more like a G1 Jazz or Prowl style body, with the bumper of the car pointed forward for the chest, the door wings, the wheels behind the shoulders. You can see elements of Jazz and Prowl in this kind of design, so yeah, it looks like he would fit in right at home with the rest of the 84 cast, and that's the idea behind him, which I kind of get behind. There's not a whole lot you can do. For head-wise. Head-wise, a lot of these try to invoke like the original characters somewhat. I don't know if you're going to get David Hasselhoff's 80s hair into a Transformer helmet. So I will take what they have given. It doesn't look bad. It does not look bad at all. I actually like how the visor is actually just like a light enough shade of red that you can actually see the individual eyes through it. That's a nice little touch. And yeah, just looking over the toy, there's a lot here that I did not expect. You know, if you look, there are screws in his forearms and his thighs, which means rather than the more typical way that Transformers are assembled these days with mushroom pegs and just like one mold hollow components, this one is multiple pieces forming the forearms and the thighs. He looks a lot more solid as a result than a lot of standard Transformers do. He looks like he's going to be a lot more robust, you know, and considering this is something that's going to cater to a lot of casual collectors, like Knight Rider fans and collectors, more, you know, as much or if not more than Transformer fans, this is pretty much, you know, this is a pretty good thing to do. Like, you know, just to make sure that this is as quality as possible. We mention it because this piece is going to retail $49.99. And when you account for all the different licenses that has to go into this particular toy, and the electronics, you know, the lights and the sound effects, and now like solid mold, you know, like more solid construction than your standard Transformer, that kind of gets explained. Like, that price point now makes a lot more sense. You know, on top of the fact he's just big. He's just big. You know, if you think about it, I think Ectotron was $10 up from a normal Voyager class at $44.99. Yeah, the Party Wallops, you know, those are big Voyager style toys with a ton of parts for $50. So this kind of toy with lights and sounds does not surprise me. I like the detail of the denim. There's a lot of little 80s details in here. The electric watch that is on his wrist, for instance, that's a more 80s style. The denim blue in the legs. If anyone from the 80s is known for denim, it's David Hasselhoff. So this works. This works. It's a neat design. I'm actually knowing how big it is now, I'm actually looking forward to it a lot more than I was before. This now has my interest a lot more. Pre-orders go up on the 30th, I want to say. It's not very long. Pre-orders are going to go up pretty soon. So I'm not sure. It looks like a really cool figure, but it's also going for, you know, a 80s brand that is not nearly as, like, it's well known, but it's well known to like the 50, 60-year-olds who grew up with the show. You know, it's not known to a lot of Transformer fans, so we'll see how it goes. I'm really curious about how this one performs. That would be it. That's like the last of their in-show reveals, the last of the things they talked on stream, but their panel at the actual San Diego Comic-Con actually did mention one more thing. And it's something we had listings for, but now it is 100% confirmed. Studio Series Devastator is on the way. So this is going to coincide with a new listing that leaked that mentioned that Long Haul and Hook are going to be a Commander class release for 2025. So what we know here is that all six are going to be out in the same calendar year, 2025. Every one of the Constructicons will be released. We know that the legs, Scrapper and Mixmaster, are Voyager, while Bone Crusher and Scavenger, the arms, are going to be deluxe. I'm presuming this is because the legs have a lot more engineering with the knees, etc., and the deluxes are just in vehicle mode, but the arms are just going to be attached separately. I'm expecting all of them to be deluxe size, regardless of what price point they sell in, because we were told from Evan on the floor, yeah, in combined mode, he's going to be about as tall as Menasor. Okay. So working off of that, largish deluxes and small-ish Voyagers is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Mixmaster and Scrapper to be Voyager for the same reason Ironhide and Ratchet are Voyager. The design complexity and the part count that it takes to actually assemble them. And considering they have to be the legs, that makes sense. They've got a lot. They need to be sturdier and more robust. Also, I'm curious if they are going to incorporate like the actual thigh components. I suspect if all of these guys are like complex Voyager scale, you know, Ironhide style, I expect Long Haul and Hook will be the same way. So even then, that a 2-pack of them is $70. So if you get it to, you have to get it to 90. I'm presuming all the spare parts you need to form Devastator are packed in with that commander. And they've never done that with Commander class before. So now I'm super curious how that's going to turn out. You know, it's more akin to Motormaster. You know, it's like the torso of the combiner in one box. But this is going to be weird. This is going to be a very weird style of Commander release. So I'm genuinely curious how this is going to work. But no, that's kind of the exciting release. That's kind of the exciting announcement. This is all we have. They didn't show it. They didn't have like official dates for launches and all that. But, you know, Studio Series Constructicons, at least in the 86 run, are on the way now. And that is pretty much going to do it. There are a lot of Transformer things that were announced outside of this, different reveals and everything. I'm going to save those for the news roundup on Monday. And I might do another video tomorrow that is just my general stuff from San Diego Comic-Con that I saw that I like. Oh, that's really cool. So we will see. But that is the Transformer reveals. And yeah, feel free to talk about them in the comments below. And as always, I will see you next time.